Welcome back to the Tier1 podcast. I'm your host, Brent Tucker, owner of FRCC. That's First Responder Coffee, Cigar, and Bourbon Company. Go to frcc.shop and use promo code Tier1 to get 15% off the world's best coffee, cigars, and bourbon.
And I'm Drew Tucker, expert of tape guns at First Responder Coffee, Cigar, and Cask Company. See us at frcc.shop. I invite you guys to join our Patreon. It's brought to you by Cobalt Kinetics. As a Patreon member, you'll have behind-the-scene access to exclusive content. There's a fitness forum, there's a weapons forum, and in that weapons forum, there's a Cobalt Kinetics weapon expert ready to answer all your weapons questions. So join the Patreon today.
And as always, this episode is brought to you by Human Performance TRT. Go to hp-trt.com and use promo code Tier1 to get 20% off all of your testosterone and peptide needs. Don't wait any longer to get in the best shape of your life. Let's do it, Drew.
For the Special Forces ready.
Welcome to the Tier 1 podcast.
This is amazing, dude. Check this out, right?
And with us today, we have my old friend and former boss and former 2-level up boss. You were almost my 3-level up boss, but had I stayed a little longer, Sean Keane, retired Command Sergeant Major Sean Keane, over 30 years of Special Operations service, and he happened to be my first team sergeant in Special Forces. Known Sean a long time. Welcome to the show, Sean.
Oh, man, Brent, it's great to be here. Always an honor to be around you, and we're going to try our best not to laugh ourselves to death and the silly things of life.
That's what the live will be for. And I know stories are going to come up here, but we'll try to keep it together. I try to separate the silliness of the live and the recordings, and try to keep that more professional.
Then I will do my best to be professional.
You will. I'll take that attempted effort, but you've always done a good job of knowing when to be professional, and that is something that I learned from you. I got a chance to tell you this before, and I'll tell it to you again. It's weird, maybe not weird. It's unique how everyone shapes you in a different way, and for you, it was definitely, you always did the best job of changing gears. And not everyone can do this. You change gears from, hey, I can be your friend. Like I can be your boss and your friend. But you separated those out.
Yeah.
Real quick. Like you could be my boss and only my boss, and friendship mattered little to nothing, just to be quite frankly, at some point. Like, right. Hey, this is just business right now. And then there was other times like, hey, we're off. We're all friends right now. I mean, I'm still your boss. Like, we're not going to. It was a unique line that you walked that I don't think, as I continued on for years, that I don't think I saw anyone walk that line as good as you did.
It's unfortunate because in our line of work, you had to be able to shift gears like that because they're your teammates. You know, when you're in the position of command or leadership, you got to make those decisions. But a lot of times those decisions are working through your team guys and talking about having a conversation before you make the end call. But again, you've got to be able to adjust quickly to have a drink with the guys. I've seen leadership where they're like, well, I can't drink with the boys. I'm like, you're not part of the team then. You got to be able to drink with the guys,
right. And I think the ODA, the dive team that you were the team sergeant of, the culture from that team, and it's something I talk about a lot, and it's something I would have never fully understood. You just know you're a part of a good team, but you don't really know why you're a part of a good team in the moment as a new E6 guy on the team. And it's the culture. It's the professionalism of standards mixed in with the friendship that says, hey, this is more than just a team at the end of the day, though. Like we're best friends. We're a family, and we have each other's back like a family. It's us against the world. But at the same time, if you're not pulling your weight, I will also remind you that that I'm your boss.
Yeah.
And it's just business.
But like you just said there, man, you even command levels, move command levels, man, it's everybody looks at special operations and they're all going to be the same. The team's going to be the same, yada, yada kind of thing. And they're not. You know, there's different energy, different vibes on different teams and different places you go. And it's rare, to be honest with you, rare to have a team that is that synced in, to be perfectly synced in. Most of the time you don't have teams that are that synced in. You know?
Yeah. There's swagger, whatever you want to call it, is big. It's big in special operations. And one thing, before we get into your story, but just kind of the step back and just kind of view you as my boss and as a man, you did a great job of pushing us to walk with swagger. Like, hey, you're on a combat dive team. You're on the best team in this company. That I know for sure we're the best team in that company. Yeah. And we're probably the best team in SF. We just haven't seen them all yet. But we just haven't seen them all yet. But yeah, there's a little bit of humility. Maybe there's one better out there. But yeah, we just haven't had a chance to beat them yet. And that was really the over the top swagger that you wanted us to have. But that type of swagger is worth nothing if you didn't back it up.
Exactly.
And you always wanted us to walk around like we were the best, but you made sure that that you could back it up.
Yep.
And again, it's just something that drove me like the rest of my career to have this type of swagger. But again, not this shallow type that no one respects if you can't back it up. That type of swagger is annoying. And don't get me wrong, we had plenty of people that thought we were annoying just because we thought we were better than them.
Yep.
And that's okay. We kind of were. And if you didn't like it, beat us at something.
Yeah, that was it. That was always the thing. If you can beat us, you're fine. But don't. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And that's where the humility comes. And then guess what? If you could beat us, it's not no time to be a sore loser. Whose fault is it? If we lost, it's our fault. And if
that swagger is what got me into not my personal swagger, but the swagger of two individuals that I've met that really got me into Special Forces. Was Ray and Scotty. The first time I met those two guys was that I've never seen so with that swagger, but with the competence and confidence to follow behind it. And it was like, I don't know who those guys are, but that's what I want to go do. That's the spot,
Also dive team guys.
Yep, also dive. And my team sergeant and my team commander later on, I think, yeah.
Yep. And it's also the perfect segue in, and right after this, we'll take that. But I actually called you my first team sergeant. That's technically not true.
That's right.
I went to another team initially.
Yep. And
that type of confidence, you can call it swagger, you can call it whatever you want. It's really the confidence. And the short time I was on another team, I happened to think that I was one of the best guys in the Q course. But I didn't think that for no reason. I worked really hard to earn that and show everyone that I am one of the best guys in the Q course. So when I showed up to A320, I was happy to be a new guy. I mean, I didn't come in with a lot of, put me on the best team. I'm one of your best new guys. It's not what it was. But I saw the dive team and just the way they carried themselves, the confidence, the competence, all together. And I said, I gotta be on that team. And we never had a recruiting problem on the dive team. Everyone wanted to come work with us. Good guys attract good guys.
And that's exactly it, man. That's exactly what you said there. Quality draws quality.
Yeah. You didn't even know who I was.
Yeah.
It's not like you came up to me like, Brent, you want to be part of the dive team? You had no idea who I was. I wanted to be a part of the dive team, and I'm going to do what it takes to get there.
I really thought your story would be like I approached you to ask you to come to the dive team.
That's how that story's going to go in my book.
I need to find this Brent. I've heard of this guy. It's fine, John.
When I write a book, that's how the story's going down. Don't get me wrong. When you write a book, apparently all bets are off. So with all that being said, what got what got you into Special Forces? I mean, of course, there's a military history there with your family as well.
Yeah, the military family. So my dad did 37 years in. His story is probably much greater than my story when it comes to the American story. He left Ireland at 14 years old, left school. To work in the mills in Ireland and England. 16 years old, came to America. Got his high school diploma in the Air Force first. Did 2 years in the Air Force. Got his high school diploma, then got out for a bit. Then Vietnam was kicking up. So he joined the Army, and he's actually retired a full bird colonel. He was enlisted first, went to OCS. He's in the OCS Hall of Fame, 3 tours Vietnam. Got his undergrad from University of Tampa, and he's got his master's from FIT from a 14-year-old who left school in Ireland to work in the mills.
That's crazy. Is it too late to get him in here?
No.
Okay.
He's still alive. Yeah.
Like instead of you. I said we were going to keep the recording professional, and look, and I started it. That's on me. I apologize, Sean.
I fell for it. My age right there. Look at sick balls.
No, that is it's amazing. Like it really is. It's crazy that you spent over 30 years in the service and you didn't serve the longest of your family. Yeah. Your dad's still got to look at you and be like, son, 137.
Got 37, buddy. My brother did 20. He's an Apache pilot. Flew quite a bit too. Yeah, that's so awesome. It's interesting. But the interesting thing too, it wasn't like you're going in the military. It was just one of those things that just naturally took its way. And I think I was a late bloomer because when I graduated high school, I didn't even go to my high school graduation because we had to go to the basic training to infantry school in Benning. But it was just kind of one of those things. You find yourself a late bloomer in life going through these things, and you slowly grow, and you find you get your traction later on in life, and that was kind of what I was, because I was 120 pounds graduating high school. When I went to selection, I was like 125, 130 pounds, man. My rucksack's weighed as much as me, man.
At times, yeah. I mean, and there's a little bit more to that. I want to dig into that.
Yeah.
What year are you going to Special Forces selection? What year is this?
91.
In 1991.
Yeah.
And it's another decade, really, before the true 18 X-ray program comes about, which kind of puts young, fresh blood into SF, which people can say is a good thing, people can say is a bad thing. Both of them, ironically enough, would be right.
Yeah.
But the Guard was always doing an 18 X-ray program, if you will. I believe it was called
Rep 63.
Rep 63. Yeah. And so you were part of the Rep 63 program, where you could go straight from basic training to selection, essentially, right into the pipeline. Through 20th Special Forces Group, correct?
Yep.
And you're 18
I was 18 at the time, going almost 19, 18, yeah.
And in 1991, the average age of a Green Beret was a few years older than it is now because of the 18 X-ray program. A lot of 30-year-olds, 33-year-olds. Not going through the Q course, but average age on an ODA, which means the average age in the Q course was a few years older as well.
So you got to remember, right at the beginning, to get in that stuff, you had to have 4 years military experience before you even go to selection. And that's where the Rep 63 program overcame that. So what the Army was looking at, they were looking at the Navy and the Marines and all of them going, hey, there's kids coming right out of high school going to the SEAL program or BUDS, whatever kind of thing. And the Army was like, hey, we probably need to look at this kind of thing. But there was a significant reason why, too. The SFODA is designed for a little more maturity, because of the missions they're doing kind of piece, So, but like you said, there's positive and negatives to both.
Could you feel the weight of that? I mean, don't get me wrong. It's you're 18 years old. I don't expect you to have a whole lot of maturity. At the same time, they're expecting you to have maturity. So did you have the situational or the awareness to go, hey, I have to act a certain way. I have to act different. Was there any pressures you feel like it was on you being so young? Or you're like, hey, there's no pressure because no one expects me to pass.
Exactly. This kid ain't going to pass. Go back to the joke was that you have a note from your mom to come here. Kind of that was always a joke. But that, that was always my whole career was that way. Like, you're too young to be a CSM or you're too young to be a SRM. The whole career was that way kind of thing. And I was like, well, I met the standards, and so I guess it's okay. But yeah, there was always a weight. But I think there was a couple of things. I didn't have any scars on me. Say training scars or any scars behind me, kind of thing, which can make a big deal on things. People don't understand what I mean. If you go to combat diver school, they want you to come clean. They don't want you to come PADI qualified. They want you to come clean because they want to train you.
Right. Yeah.
So when I was going through selection, they kind of looked at me that way. But when I went through selection, man, I had my mentors were guys from Ranger Battalion. I had a guy from the SEALs. He didn't make it selection, and had a bunch of different guys were my mentors. And that was they took me under their wings, and guided me and gave me. They didn't give it to me, but
Right.
they assisted me on, hey, this is the best way to ruck and this kind of thing, and adjusted. So it was how you carried yourself. If you were humble and your intent was clean and pure, then I think that they saw that and go, hey, this guy, let's get him through.
Yeah. And I've seen that before. I know exactly what you're talking about. Those guys aren't the type of guys who will just go up to someone random and be like, hey, let me invest some time into you.
Yeah.
They're also not when you get to know them, they're not the hard asses that you think they are either.
Yeah.
They're just reserved men.
Right.
But if they see someone that's putting in the effort, that their time and energy is worth putting into someone, and that's something you have to show.
Yeah.
They will help you out.
I think a big thing that helped me out too was growing up in the military. So I already had military bearing. I understood the military kind of thing. So if I was just coming out of the streets and having any kind of background, growing up that way, I think it would have been a different story. I knew when to be the gray man. I knew when to be quiet and listen up kind of thing, and understand how to get in formation and ranks and all that kind of stuff. So I knew all that walking in,
Did you make a selection your very first try?
I did. I broke my foot in the last 30 miler, 2 miles into it. Snapped broke my second and third metatarsal on my left foot. Yeah.
2 miles into it, not 2 miles left.
2 miles into it. Yeah. But I was lucky because, and I say that because there are guys breaking feet, days prior that they're done. There's no way you're making it.
Right.
You can't survive that long. If you're in the last event, it's like, what is it? They call it, unknown time, unknown distance kind of thing.
Right.
But you knew it was about 30 miles. You just got to give it your go. But you just find a new way to walk, and that was what I did. I had to find a new way to walk, to finish this thing out. Because I wasn't about to go back to this thing. I was like, I'm not going to go back to this damn thing again.
Yeah.
And then when I finished, I remember last night I told you, I called my dad. They put a pink cast on me. It was pink, bright pink cast on me. And I called my dad up, and I was like, Dad, I made it. I didn't get selected yet. I said, I made it through.
Okay.
And my dad was like, you did? It's like, thanks, Dad.
You did. I lost that bet. Dad.
But it was an interesting time, too, when you went through selection back then, because you went, it was back in the old World War II barracks, and they brought you into this old church, and it was all blacked out windows, and they brought, back then, I can't remember how many candidates you started off, but you lost a good 80% of the candidates were gone, And when we were sitting in there, they had everybody stand up, and they say, hey, when we call your number, move to the back of the room at the back door. So you don't know if you're a go or no go getting called out. And so they stood up, and I had my cast on, and everybody moved out, and the guys who were left goes, gentlemen, you're welcome to Special Forces. You're moving on to the pipeline kind of thing. And it was like pretty cool,
It's got to be a good feeling.
Yeah, it was a good feeling, man, yeah. Especially at a young age like that.
It's even at a young age, I'm sure you understood. It's like anything else. Take this in, enjoy it.
Yeah.
But the Q course is a long course. You've just got the opportunity now.
Yeah.
But it's far from over to obtain a Green Beret. Here at the Tier 1 podcast, we're excited to have Tasty Gains as a sponsor, a company with values that aligns with ours. I take their products every day, 3 times a day. And if it wasn't a product that I didn't take personally and believe in, and a company with integrity, then they wouldn't be sponsors on this show. Creatine helps the body produce more ATP, which is an energy molecule that your entire body runs on. It helps improve your physical and mental performance in all aspects of life. Let's be honest, creatine powder sucks to take every day. With the creatine gummies, you can take them with you anywhere, and they taste great. Every batch is third-party tested, so you know you're getting exactly what you pay for. Go to tastygains.com and enter the promo code Tier1, that's TIER, the number 1, and get 20% off your order.
And that's where, if you follow in life with me anyways, even to what I currently do, people are like, you should be excited about it. I say, nah, I don't get excited about it. it's, because you don't do that. You don't think about the end. You don't think about graduation. You don't think of any of that. You just think about the next step or the next meal, and you're kind of moving forward. Right. Because you've seen it too many times. You get excited about something. Next thing you know, boop, guess what?
Then it's taken away.
Yep, taken away like that.
Did it delay you into phase 2, your foot?
Yeah, it did. It delayed me 6 months or so. I still had to go to airborne school. So I think I went to airborne school next, and then went to the Q, if I remember right, order-wise.
Okay.
But yeah, so I had to heal up the foot, and then go to the airborne school, and airborne school was like back then. It was you fell out of shape at airborne school.
Right. Yes.
It's like God dang it! I was trying to get in shape for the Q course, and so at night you had to break off and prepare yourself, rucking and doing all your stuff ready for it.
Yeah, we've said it before on the podcast, and it's not disrespectful to anyone else or airborne people at all. It's just that it's two different roads in a military career.
Yeah.
And certain people that are going to the 82nd Airborne or an airborne unit, airborne school is a big deal to them, as it should be. It's something that not a lot of people get to go to.
Right.
But when it's just one part of your pipeline, there's other things that you want to do. You don't have the same outlook, on it. And it's not the same experience, because like you said, like you're preparing for something. I hate to say bigger, but that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
It is a much smaller group of people that are going to do that, and so it's just part of the process. Check this box. I got to get back to doing what I want to do.
And you meet those people along the way that are on the same route as you, and you kind of find each other in there. It's like 3 or 4 of you kind of thing, and you stick with those guys. And you're like, hey, we're going to go ruck. We're doing this, and we're all preparing for the same thing. While everybody else is taking off doing something, your day's not over. Your day is just beginning to train for what's upcoming.
Yeah, absolutely. You went to phase 2, so phase 1 we'll call selection.
Yeah, it was different way back
then.
Yeah, so they didn't even call it. Wasn't. It was you went to selection, then you went to phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3.
Okay.
Back in the queue.
So we'll just call it small unit tactics.
Yeah.
Was the next phase of training.
Yeah.
Which is really SF's version of Ranger School. It's slightly shorter, but it's the same principles.
Yeah.
As a young man, you're expected to go into leader. It's one thing to go into selection, because everything's pretty much an individual event. There's a couple, outliers to that. But now on SUT, you're an 18-year-old with no background like everyone else in there.
Yeah.
And you're expected to lead patrols, raids, ambushes, op orders. That is when it becomes a lot for a young man without a military background per se.
There's no doubt about that. The weight of there comes on you, because now you're trying to you're looking at the Ranger handbook, and you're going through all the the warnos and warning orders and all that kind of stuff, and trying to get a clear understanding of all this.
Right.
When everybody walking in there is usually from Ranger Battalion or some infantry background, much more than I have.
Right.
Because I went to infantry school, basic training doesn't mean I'm truly an infantryman.
Right.
At that point, and these guys all have that walking into it. But then again, it goes right back to, man, I have Nate and a bunch of guys on there, man, from Ranger Battalion. They took me under their wings and said, "This is, like you said, this guy's worth investing in, and we'll teach him and instruct him and guide him along the way."
This is for people who haven't been through all the courses, and you've been through almost all of them.
A few.
Is that whether you've had that background or not, the common denominator really is this: are you trainable? Because they're not going to ask you to do anything they haven't taught you. Now, they may not have.
Absolutely.
They may not have went over it a whole lot of times. So you better be a quick learner, because they told you. Did you pick it up, and can you apply it?
Yeah.
And that's what you were able to do as a young man.
I was always have a question. What was that? They give you an answer. Kind of go. Do what the instructor told you, or do what you feels right.
Right.
All right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, they put it out once in the class.
Exactly.
They may not even remind you again, and tell you, "Oh, we put it out once already. Let me tell you again."
Yeah.
We don't have time for that. We're going to cover a lot of. We have to continue to move forward, so we can't keep reminding you about the past.
You're going to be the liability, obviously.
You went on from SUT to be an 18 Bravo.
Yeah, I went
Correct.
to 18 Bravo.
And what is an 18 Bravo?
Is the weapons sergeant kind of piece. So one of the biggest things, because I was actually 11 Charlie, so I was a infantry mortarman. That's what I went to school for, specifically to go to be an 18 Bravo, because that's one of the main mortars and FDC and all that stuff is one of the difficult things.
Yeah.
So was the understanding when I went to the Q course to have that, and which was so funny when I was in the Q course, we were working on mortars. My dad was up there in Bragg for some reason doing some meetings, and he decided to swing on by the old Q course there, and they invited him in. They didn't realize this was my dad. And they invited him in. He's walking around. I was like, looked up, there's my dad walking around, He's talking to him about mortars and level the bubble, that kind of stuff, and it was just kind of funny. I was like, and he's got his tanker boots on his uniform.
Yeah.
I was like, right on, Dad. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You went on, and of course, and we'll just fast forward this a little bit. Of course, you went to Robin Sage. Language, what language did you get?
Spanish. Imagine that now.
Yeah. And then, no doubt, you were the war baby in SEER.
Yeah, that was the war baby and everything I did. That was the war baby, everything I did. Yeah.
So when you put your Green Beret on, how old are you?
So this is the funny part when we walked on the stage. Back then, too, you were limited. I think you could only allow 2 or 3 family members into the chapel.
Okay.
And then you walk across stage. And I was an E3, E4, and they wouldn't let me walk across the stage. They had to pin the other next rank on me. I think they pinned like a corporal on me or something to walk across the stage because I didn't have it kind of thing. So you are not walking across that stage. And so walking across the stage of that, yeah.
So we 19 when you
when I graduated from the Q course. No, I've been 20. Yeah, I've been 20, almost 21.
All right.
Yeah.
So we'll guess 20. Were you not drinking age when you got your Green Beret? Would you remember that?
I think I turned 21 right at the end of the Q course. Yeah, before the
All right.
end. Yeah.
So you're 21.
Because I was drinking up in Bragg, and my birthday happened. People were like, "Don't tell them it's your birthday."
Okay. And so, what do you remember? What year you graduated the Q course? No, we're mid 90s or early to mid 90s.
Early 90s, yeah. 92, yeah, okay. Right there, yeah.
And you go to 20th group.
Yeah.
I know you go to Ranger school not
down
too
the road.
long after
Went to combat diver school first.
Did you go to dive school first?
Yeah, dive school first, and then Ranger school. Yeah.
So let's talk about combat dive school. Did you go right to a dive team?
I did. I went right to 1-5, matter of fact, and trained on that. Yeah.
And of course the audience. We served together. Scotty that he's talking about is a legend in 20th group. He's been there for a long, long time, along with Ray. Something tells me because you had met Scotty before, it was did you know you were going to 1-5 already, or would you show up with those orders to 1-5?
I think so. I think I asked for it, kind of thing. I really wanted to be on the dive team. And I think that's what happened. I don't remember. It's been a while, so I'm just trying to figure out when I rolled into it. It was pretty much to 1-5 at that point, So again, I remember. Matter of fact, when I first went in, before I even went to the basic training or anything, I was with those guys, and I went on an exercise with them, and we're out doing some raid or something, and I was just, I hadn't been in the military whatsoever yet, long hair Sean like I am now, I remember coming out of there, we found a dead body, and it was kind of like, this is so cool. This guy's finding dead bodies, man, already. We're only training, man. But I would end up on their team, and I can't remember how I ended up on their team.
Okay.
Requested that, yeah.
So you go to 1-5. I just want to know, as a young guy, when do you think? Because I only know the Sean who had successfully, in my eyes, had successfully done everything.
Yeah.
Is an absolute PT stud. Can do 30 pull-ups. It's I've been there, done that.
42.
42 pull-ups. I've been there, I've done that. But I'm not resting on my laurels. I will continue to do that. That's the Sean that the only Sean I knew. When you're showing up, you haven't failed at anything yet. You're 21. You're just going. Do you have the confidence yet? Is it starting to build, or are you still just not sure of yourself and how far you can go?
The confidence is definitely building, but you're still, everybody still looks at you like a 12-year-old kid,
Right.
Yeah, and that's the hardest thing when you're trying to overcome this. When you go to certain meetings, you're like, hey, everybody looks like a 12-year-old kid kind of piece, and still moving up my ranks when I walked in, and longer hair and like a 12-year-old kid. Yeah. I've got like no hair in my ass, so it's like a 12-year-old boy, ass the same way all my whole career. You know
Yeah.
that. You've been in the shower.
It's a dive team.
But yeah, so you're still you walk it in think that you can do anything kind of piece,
Right.
But dive school humbled me a little bit. Yeah.
What happened on your first go around the dive school?
Our first go around at dive school was the weight belt swim got me. I had trained up for it, and I realized I didn't train correctly, kind of thing. And I end up like the weight belt swim was like 7 minutes, and then you get fractions added on. So I ended up being like 20, 21 minutes on that weight belt swim. And it was finally they could tell I was not holding air much anymore, and I was down, and they pulled me out of the pool and said, "Time to go home."
I can relate to that. The weight belt swim was my nemesis. Was my absolute nemesis. And this is a little bit more of a controversial, conversational podcast. It'll be more conversational with you because we have so much history. I think I've told you this story before. The weight belt swim wasn't my friend in dive school. I passed it on its very last attempt.
Yeah.
And where they said, hey, if you guys don't pass, you already failed the official first one. If you don't pass this one, you're out. It was one of the few times Bob Keller came up and gave me a pep talk. He was like, you better pass this weight belt swim. He was my roommate, but he needed me for my brains because he needed me to make sure that the paperwork part I could help him with. But anyway, I digress. I knew that was going to be a problem for my very first weight belt swim with your teammate Rick. We'll just say his first name, Rick. Who's both of our teammates.
Yeah.
Takes me to the pool one day because he's like, "You want to be on the dive team?" I do. Yeah. He was like, "Let's go to the pool." And so we go to the pool. He hands me a weight belt, and his instructions are basically this: here's the weight belt, put it on. Here's flippers, put them on. Swim in circles for 7 minutes. And I was like, "Okay, I got this."
Easy.
I don't know how long it was. I can tell you what it wasn't, and that's 7 minutes, Sean. I come back to the side of the pool completely out of breath, getting ready to go under with my last energy to make it to the side of the pool, completely out of breath. I'm panting, and he comes over and he kneels down, and he gets right in front of me. He goes, "That wasn't 7 minutes."
That's awesome.
And I knew from there on out
It's gonna be
the weight belt swim was going to be a problem. So yeah, I get that.
Oh yeah.
So how was that dealing with, like, again, in a weird way, you should have had failure before that to some degree. Like the odds say you should have had failure before that, but your preparation and your ability kept you from that. What was it like coming back from that, having to deal with that?
Some people, it's either you go left or right? So it was like, I said, hey, I'm going to go back and train hard for this. I know what I need to do now specifically. Because you didn't really have a whole lot of guidance. I went through pre-scuba and all that kind of stuff, but my pre-scuba, we started with 5 guys started. On day 3, I was the only one left. I still had another week and a half left of myself. I was like, this sucks. Because they're all, you couldn't get away with anything.
Right.
They're on top of you constantly. I was like, God.
Yeah.
And so, that was the kind of point where I realized that, hey man, it takes more than what you think. You need to get back. And so I just trained my ass, and Dave, he knows that because he was in the pool watching me, and he saw the change in me, and a couple other guys did too, going, time to be serious about this and train hard for what you're doing, kind of thing,
How long did it take you to go back to dive school?
It was the next class after.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And
turned around after a class and got back down there and got on it.
And that's how it's done.
Yeah.
You go right back as soon as some could say as soon as you can.
Yeah.
I kind of like to say as soon as you should.
You should.
Because there's no reason to go back to the next class if you're not ready.
Yeah.
But for people who don't make something like, all right, well, I'll go back another time.
Yeah.
And it's 6 months, a year, you're not going back.
And we had I think 63 guys went and 17 finished in my class. So finally, I went back to that class. But I remember the first dive school, the first one. I remember doing the hands out of water, tread water. That basic test. They start going through. Some tests. And there was a big old pipe hitting dude from CAG, big old legs, and he failed it. And I was like, I'm screwed. I'm screwed.
It's so true. Everything is, when you go through these special operation gates, whether it be the Q course and dive school, ranger school, there's always someone bigger than you.
Always.
There's always someone with a better pedigree than you. Always.
Yeah.
And when those men don't make it, it's you look internally and you're like, if he didn't make it, how am I supposed to make it?
Yeah.
There's always that internal struggle that everyone has to deal with.
It is. But as you go through more of these courses, you start to realize too, as you see those guys getting weaker and you go past them, you kind of suck that energy off them, absorb that energy off them kind of thing, and you learned as you push forward. And in time that actually drives you more, like, okay, now I got to make it, get through this crap,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The when you're younger, it's a lot harder. But even I don't think it ever fully goes away.
Right.
You deal with it more, or it bubbles up, and you at least have now the experience behind you, and more than that, the preparation behind you to suppress that.
Yeah.
Because you always have that self-doubt that pops up. Just when you have that behind you as you get a little bit older, you can quickly push it out and be like, no, I don't have to entertain that now. But
it's also entertaining. When I did all those things, those majority of those things, I was single. I wasn't married, didn't have the kids and stuff. I got it all done when I was young, kind of thing. And you see a lot of guys who are, engaged or married or something, and you can see how it starts to wear. And it's like there's a window of opportunity, and it could be the wife is good with it at first, and guess what? Halfway through, the wife ain't cool with it anymore, kind of thing. You're already gone. Your training's taking all this time, and you'll see that. And it's so important, as we find later on in deployments, is that you got to make sure everything's good back at household 6, kind of thing, before you push forward too. Yeah,
I love that was really your very next advanced course, and we're about to talk about Ranger School here in a second. Is that you just talked about it? Was you get married, you get rank. There's a lot of things people don't realize that start stealing your bandwidth, and it becomes harder and harder and harder to do the things that you want to do and that you wanted to accomplish.
Yeah,
and so you have to knock out as many hard schools
You do.
as early as possible, because you think that window's always there, but you don't know when that window closes.
Yep. And that's where, like you always say, man, it's all about timing and windows, man. You're just going to realize if you're going to go do it now. And I hear guys come back and, well, I'm going to put it off a little bit. And I'm like, don't do it, because you don't know. It's like the whole saying, if you've got a good plan to execute today, it's better than a perfect plan tomorrow, because tomorrow can go away.
Absolutely.
You've got to execute now, kind of thing. And
Absolutely.
that's just how it is, man. But you're right. The weight, as you gain rank and life on you, the weight comes more and more on your shoulders, and that weight holds you down from good or bad from going to what you want to go next, at school or something like that. It takes a while to get through, and these schools are not necessarily Ranger School, Combat Diver School kind of, but like the Q course or going to OTC or something like that. That's a lifestyle.
Right.
It's not just a school, I got an extra badge kind of thing. It is a lifestyle change.
Right.
And guys who don't make it through, their life is no longer going the path they thought. They are taking another path.
Yeah.
And it's a unique, and it's a weight on you that people don't realize. When you're younger, you don't really realize that weight so much, but as you get older, you see that weight a lot more. Yeah.
I love that you went to Ranger School. There's generally two types of people in SF when it comes to their view on Ranger School. There's the ones who want to continue to go to Ranger School and continue to get challenged, and you're like, and they say, hey, I want to do everything, and I get that. I side on that camp for mentality purposes.
Right.
And there's the other side of the camp that goes, I have a lot of other things to do other than Ranger School, like SODIC, being sniper qualified would be more important than that. Dive school, Halo, all these advanced schools are more important. And to steal a line from, I wish I can remember who told me this the first time, but why would we go to high school when I've already been to college?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and I get that.
Yeah.
So what drove you to go to Ranger School?
Tab looks really good on your shoulder.
I already know it. Because I've worked with him for a long time. Looking cool has always been important to Sean. And you know what? That is important.
The Tower of Power.
That is important. How you look. Yeah. How you look is important. How your team looks is important. You say it as kind of a joke, but it's also absolutely true.
But it comes right back to the first two people I met. They were both SF, Ranger, combat divers. And that stood in my mind. That's where I needed to be. That defined the level I wanted to be at, like those guys were, kind of thing, And that's why I wanted to get Ranger School.
Do you think to some degree that those schools separated them as men, or to you as a younger man, like these are great men, and as far as I can tell, this is the path they took. Yeah. So if I want to be a great man and be like them, I need to take the same path. Is that essentially what you're saying?
I think no matter what, subconsciously that's true. You see that, you meet people, and that's where like mentorship in life comes through, right? You meet certain people, and that guides you to where you want to go. You're going to meet a SEAL, you want to go to SEAL team. You're going to meet a Green Beret, you want to go to Green Beret. You want to see a Delta, go to Delta guy. And that's just kind of Rangers. The same idea. It depends on the people you meet. If that guy's a true asshole, you're not going to like. I remember right. Admiral. Not Williams, McRaven. Mm-hmm. I was sitting down with Admiral McRaven. He was the SOCOM commander at the time, and we're down in Hondo, and we're hanging out. And he goes, Sean, do you know why? You know why I didn't become a Green Beret? And I go, no, sir, I didn't. And he goes, because my sister was dating a Green Beret, and I hated that asshole. So that's why I became a SEAL. I said, right on.
There's a lot of truth to that.
Right on.
Yeah, absolutely. I will tell you this, and I think you'll agree with it, just statistically, of course, there's a lot of absolute stud Green Berets that went to mountain teams, never went to a cool guy school after that, and they were great shooters, and they were heroes in combat. But I will tell you this: if you give me 12 guys, that all 12 of these guys are Special Forces, Ranger School, combat divers, and put them on one team, and you give another guy of just the minimal amount of requirements, overall, statistically and generally speaking, that team over there is going to be the better team. And I don't think it'll even be close. But it's not the Ranger School or the dive school that made them better. And you already know the answer. Why is it that generally speaking they're going to be better on that? Well, that's where you're going to put your money.
What is going to be really because the drive they have, and it's the humbleness and it's intense, everything they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And people have a tendency of, I made it here, I'm good. It goes, no, that's just, you just got in. You have to completely, like, it's always improving your fighting position kind of concept, right?
Yeah.
You should always look at how do I improve myself, what school, and it's not for you, it's for the team. And people get upset sometimes, talk about, hey man, go to hazmat. Like, what do you mean go to hazmat course? I'm telling you right now, you need a hazmat guy on your team. And if you're not hazmat qualified, guess what? You're not going on that bird, or something's not going on, another team's going to get it kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's those little things people don't understand, but it's always trying to improve your fighting position. If you think, I'm done with the Q course, it continues. That's just the beginning of the courses you need to get stacked on you.
Yeah. I knew that was going to be your answer. Because you taught me how to think like that. But it's true, Sean. Unfortunately, you get to take the credit for a lot of good qualities about me. There's some people who don't like me as much and think I'm not anymore, but at times thought I was a little bit of a prima donna, and you have to take credit for that too.
I do. Trust me, there are plenty of people that, even though I was a CSM, still thought I was kind of an asshole. And I was like, well, but if I was an asshole to you, you probably deserved it.
I already know that.
Yeah,
that's
earned
right.
It. Yeah.
Same thing here. I had even when I was at the unit at times, whether it be a support guy or another operator, remembered me as a SFAS constructor. And you either really liked me as a SFAS constructor, or you did not like me as a SFAS constructor. And I was okay with that, because if you didn't like me, then you didn't meet a standard.
Yeah.
And I doesn't mean necessarily that I'm going to be like overly mean to you, but I'm not going to treat you and pretend like you met a standard that you did not meet. I'm just willing to let you know that, and other men aren't, and shame on them, because they'll say that behind your back. You're just mad at me because I'm willing to treat you how I think about you, and for what I believe to be good reasons.
And that's the key thing, really. It's a FALAC, whatever courses we're going to, man. It's the standards are the standards all the time, and that's where you want it, And it's in a world like today, it's difficult to see those standards start shifting here in places, But it's simple rule. Here are the standards. Just meet the standards, and then go above and beyond the standards. If you want to go to a different team, you can. But here's the standard. Here's the standards for generally you're coming out here, and here's the standards for our team. You know, here's figure it out. You know.
Luckily, I never had to put this into practice, but I know it at this point in my life. At some point in dive school, pool phase, I thought about quitting. I really did.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, I really hope I pass this school because I will never come back to this school. When you're in the thick of it, you know, it's an emotional time. I don't know if I would have. I'd like to think that I would have, but I don't know for a fact.
Right.
So, even though you did do that, and you've proven that you'll take that challenge and you'll go back. My question is really about Ranger School as well. Let's put you all the way in Florida phase or somewhere deep in that school. That's a much longer school, much longer commitment. Although you passed it first time go on everything, correct?
Well, I got recycled Rangers in mountain phase.
In mountain phase. Yeah. In mountain phase.
Yep. Stayed up mountain phase, yeah. I had blueberry pancakes twice, kind of thing.
If you'd have failed Ranger School, would you have gone back?
I wouldn't. I'm not sure I wouldn't even approach that subject right now. I would. Depending where you were when you when you failed or something kind of thing, you know. Yeah. But it's like when I went to Ranger School, it was 82 days, and you did a pre-Ranger prior kind of thing, and I was like 5% body fat, and I lost 22 goddamn pounds at Ranger School. You know, my mom didn't even recognize me. The problem with Ranger School, because I did it backwards, right? I mean, you should have gone to Ranger School before you went to SF. Really should have. You know, because like you said, you're going to Ranger School, and you're like, well, why don't we do this and this? Your mind is trying to figure things out. Coming from SF, your mentality is different, right?
Right.
And Ranger School is like, you get up that rock, Ranger. I'm like, well, I'm just go around the rock. It's easy to go around the rock. Right. You know, it's that mentality. So you have to get over this mentality that, hey, you're treated like a private. Get back to being a private. You know, even though you got all this stuff underneath your belt already, you're back to a private, and you lead guys. Because the distinct difference, really, in Ranger School and going to selection in the Q course and all that stuff, those guys are there for a lifetime change. It is something completely different. A lot of guys go to Ranger School are going for Ranger Tab, and you have people from all mixed community. You know, and you got to deal with different mentalities. They don't have the same mentality you have, you know, and so you're dealing with that piece. But you really got to the end in Florida phase was when I really they let me loose a little bit and let me go a little more unconventional and do the things with the ambushes and the raids and we were a little just kind of piece. But what was nice about Ranger School is that when we got to Florida phase, I did all of, even the mountain phase, I did all of the river crossings and stuff, you know, tied a rope up kind of piece. And the guys on the side, a lot of them didn't make it or went to dive school with me. And so I'd go over there, set the rope up, you know, and then I have a Snickers bar with them kind of thing, hook it up, you know.
Oh, the instructors?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Instructors kind of,
yeah.
You know, so it was like, hey, I remember you from dive school, you know, kind of that, you know.
Yeah. You'll take that.
Yeah, I'll take that.
For sure.
You know. But yeah, it was different. It's a different mentality, and it's something. It's like, man, it's 82 days long, and you get recycled. You know, and it's like, man, it's taking forever. And the problem about a recycle is it may not be your fault. You've got a compass man who puts you in the wrong spot. But guess what? You're the leader.
It falls on you.
And I remember exactly why I got my recycle. I was the platoon sergeant, and we were in a patrol base, a patrol halt, security halt, and checking map. The leader was checking the map or something. And then we rolled out, get a head count everybody out, and I stop. I say, we're missing someone. And I said, I get a positive head count. Okay, we're missing one person. Go back, found them, sleeping against a tree. The reason that I failed, it was my radio man. It was asleep. Count out. So they gave me a no-go. That was my no-go. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
So it may always be on you, one. My friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Doing it a little bit backwards, but while you were telling that story, it reminded me of how you showed up to Ranger School.
Yeah.
Not as smooth as maybe you'd want to show up to Ranger School.
No,
in hindsight,
no.
how'd that go?
That went. Well, the orders said you had to be there by a minimum time. Why would I want to be there 3 hours ahead of time? You know, you show up the last minute kind of thing.
Right.
And I think it was me and Mark. We stopped and had a steak, had a beer. You know, chilled out, and we rolled up there, and we rolled into the barracks there, and they're all sitting on the ground, and the RI was there, and he looks at us, and he goes, "Who you guys are?" Well, we're so and so and so and so, And he goes, "You better get your ass." He starts yelling at us, and he goes, "You aren't in the team room anymore. Get down and get your shit. Get back over here." And I'm like, "Oh no, man!"
But that's exactly why you don't show up 3 hours early as well, right? They were going to treat you in a better 3 hours before that.
Yeah, man. But yeah, that was a rude awakening. Me and Mark walking to that one.
Speaking of Ranger School, I did not get to go to Ranger School. I went to pre-Ranger.
You did? Yep.
And then I had to wait for orders to go to Ranger School. We ended up going to combat. Then I went back to OTC.
Yep.
Like just that we had talked about, windows close.
Yep.
You don't know when that window is going to close. But I argued with you. I don't know if you remember this.
I remember it.
Okay. I said,
We both have different stories to this.
so I don't have to go to pre-Ranger. I'd like to go to, I said, I want to go to Ranger School, Sean.
Yeah.
And you said, well, all right, we'll go get a pre-Ranger date. I said, well, I don't have to go to pre-Ranger. It's not a prerequisite. I would like to go straight to Ranger School. And do you remember what you told me? You said, you're going to pre-Ranger, Brent. And I said, why?
I think probably said because I went to pre-Ranger.
That's exactly that's exactly your answer. And that's, in a weird way, I always respected you for that. Because it goes back to other people will give you a softer answer when you know the real answer is. If you'd have told me a different answer, because it's good for you, I'd have walked away from that and I'd have gone, he's making me go because he went.
Exactly.
But you at least had the decency, whether I want to hear it or not, it said, oh, Brent, I'll tell you why you're going. Because I went to pre-Ranger, so you're going to pre-Ranger. And it's really hard to argue that at the same time as well.
That's it. Yeah. People get it, man, because I went and did it. You're going to go do it. You're going to suck like I sucked.
If you've ever been to any of my tactical training classes, then you know how adamant I am about the use of white light and the importance of a quality, high-powered tactical light. That's why I use cloud defensive tac lights. You can't hit what you can't see, and neither can the bad guys. Clearly identify your target and simultaneously overwhelm his vision with hundreds and even thousands of lumens. Get serious about defending yourself and your family. Go to clouddefensive.com and use promo code Tier1 to get 30% off your order. That's right, 30%. You won't find a better light than this, and you won't find a better deal than this. So you got to see a lot of the military before 9/11. And then you got to see the whole GWAT. You were a young team guy early on the GWAT, and then served really at the highest levels as a senior enlisted advisor to star level counterparts at the end. Separating the 90s Army to the GWAT, is it your opinion that the 90s Army was still a good Army, or do you think we were to some degree just playing Army at the same time? Well, what do you think the culture was for that?
I think there's a little more if you go a little further back in that from when I went first in, right? You still had a lot of guys from the 80s, Those guys from the 80s, they did, some were old school, like barely hanging on Vietnam guys, something like that maybe, but they had served their time. But a lot of those guys, it's like they weren't ready. They weren't designed to go to what we were doing. And so you didn't see a lot of those guys move forward. They were like cutting away kind of thing. So you started having seen the young guys or the guys that were a little older than me that had gone through the Q course and all that stuff in the 90s, but they came from like Ranger Battalion, Infantry, the Marine Corps or something like that. So they had experience. Those guys were the guys moving forward, and so that was the change mentality. So you saw most of those guys go into it kind of piece. And it was definitely interesting. Like you said, it was, to suddenly, hey man, we're going to war, because at that time I had like 11 years in, and so it was kind of those things you can make a decision, you stay in there or getting out,
right?
Because you did FIDs, you did little things around the area, with not a huge amount of things going on, kind of thing. But it was, but then when 9/11 happened, that changed everything. It was like the Olympics, man. You're going to the Olympics now. You're going. Why would you get out?
Everything just got real.
Yeah, you're trained for this, and that was the perspective and the mentality was, when are we going? Let's go now,
Before 9/11 hit, which was obviously now your priorities changed, you had a real unique part of your career where you spent a little bit of time in LA, correct? Or that area.
Yeah, I was in San Francisco, but for the, you talk about the movie?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Yeah. Right, actually, matter of fact, before 9/11 happened, it was roughly the summer prior, so summer of 2001, was that we were soldiers up in Fort God, man, it's in California. I can't remember the name right off the top of my head now. But we were shooting all the Vietnam scenes were shot there. So I got pulled into that.
How'd you get connected with that?
Through if I remember right, through my brother had a friend, and he was asking. He said, "Hey, my brother is this," and he goes, "Really? Have him come out, like talk to him, kind of piece." And so I went out there, and he said, "Hey, man, we'd love to bring you on. I love your background experience. I'd love to bring you on." And so that's what he tied me into it, kind of thing. And so once I then got into the film part of it, they before Mel Gibson and all of them came out, we were training I was training like the Lost Platoon guys, not the main actors guys, but the guys around them, kind of thing, on like patrol-based activities. When you're attacked at a patrol base, all that kind of stuff like that. And that was, so my intent was just to do like a military advising kind of piece.
Right.
And then they asked, would I be an extra kind of piece? And they came up to me and goes, "Hey, Sean, we would love you to be the platoon sergeant, but you look like you're 12. And in Vietnam, they didn't have 12-year-old sergeants. I said, got it.
Reoccurring theme for you.
It keeps on going, man. It just keeps on going,
You can't put that Hollywood magic on me and make me look a little bit older.
I know. I was like, come on, guys. But yeah, it was a good experience. I mean, it was an interesting experience. So, with Mel Gibson, Sam Elliott, Barry Pepper, trained Mel Gibson's twin boys, how to run with them, carry a weapon, and all that kind of stuff, and a bunch of stuff like that. So it was really neat interesting to be on the set, the Hollywood set. But it was also very, because your intent wasn't to go to Hollywood, so you're just kind of having a fun time,
Right.
Where everybody else their intent was to go to Hollywood, so they're sucking up the bosses and all this kind of stuff, and a lot of shenanigans going on because they're just trying to get their piece in Hollywood, But it was interesting to see all that, and then the money they spent and all that too. But it was good. Yeah. It was neat.
It was a great movie.
Yeah.
The book was even better.
The book was
I
good.
read that book before I saw the movie. Great book,
at the end of the movie, they messed up. They didn't follow the book, though. If I remember right, they had the helicopters come in and destroy everybody.
They had the Hollywood ending.
Yeah, it was Hollywood ending for that piece.
It seemed to be pretty historically. I can't remember the exact of it, but it seemed to, when I watched it, the book was fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
It seemed to be pretty accurate until the Hollywood ending. But I get it. That's Hollywood.
Yeah, it was Hollywood, and it was interesting to see when I was teaching them how to do, patrolling, hey, wedge formation, stuff like that. I remember Sergeant Major from the book, what's his name, man, that wrote the book with him. He was out there, and they're like, "Hey, we did wedge formations. It was always ducks in a row, So you readjusted everything."
Really?
And I was teaching him call for fire because we didn't do that call like that because I was doing modern day call of fire. He's like,
Right.
"No, this is you, this is me. Drop bombs over here, kind of thing." All right, shift gears.
It's funny that's what he told you. That was the reality in combat.
Yeah.
And at the time, you were schoolhouse trained.
Yeah.
So in the schoolhouse, what movement type or formation did we use going, to the objective?
The schoolhouse was basically a wedge formation, and if it was at night or something, you would rotate into Rangers in a file kind of piece. Yeah, but it's all terrain dependent. Right. Yeah.
Right. And so you were given the right answer for what you know. Had we move from HLZ to the objective in Afghanistan and Iraq?
Oh, you were no wedge formation. Right? It was just get to the objective, Ranger file, right? I get fast you can,
So
kind of thing.
it's so funny to some degree. The wars change of sorts, but the reality of war, there's a lot of things that are still very similar.
Yeah, and that's the reality is when you get to your school training, but that's what school trainers do, right? Is to give you that 80% solution, right? And then when you get to the ground, is to adjust what you need to adjust, and wartime that 20% adjust, and that's what you did overseas. And that was some of the hardest thing for me was that, and probably fast forward a little too much in this one, but when I moved from a team to sergeant major, it was more difficult to watch that bird on the big TV, the drones, coming in on satellite, watching, and that bird hovering there or something, man. You're like, hey, man, get the guys off the bird. Get them off the bird. You're a floating bus right now, and you're ready for an RPG to hit you kind of thing,
And you know that because you've been on the bird.
Yeah, because you've been on the bird. Or you're not thinking that in the bird. You're like, let's get the ground. You're exempt.
It is kind of funny to think that because, and you're saying all that when you're on the bird. Although what you just said, I never got that high and to watch so like as leadership,
right?
My men, like this is what's happening. I left at a team level, but if you'd asked me, hey, what's one of the most dangerous parts of the operation? I'd tell you, well, infill is when you're most vulnerable.
Yeah.
But when you're doing it in the bird, all you're thinking about is the next steps.
Yeah.
Yes, get me on the ground, but you're thinking, you're looking out the window. Where am I? Okay, this is how we're going to move. Everything's starting to line up what I think it is, but now that we're here, do I know where I'm at on the ground? What's the breach point? Like, you think about everything else.
Yeah.
But when you get to watch it from leadership, from that, those aren't your thoughts. It's the guys in the Berets' thoughts.
Yeah.
You get to really focus on what is wrong right now.
Right.
And you're right.
The team is very focused on internal training or internal comms right now. At that point, talking to each other and hearing some. But when you're back at that command level, man, you know things that are going wrong. The team doesn't realize. They're not in harm's way. But hey, we lost a drone, or we're doing this kind of thing, and you don't report that back to the team. Hey, man, they got to focus on the mission to get ready to hit, kind of thing. And you start seeing all this stuff, and the stuff you didn't realize before. You start seeing that whole amateurs talk tactics, professionals talk logistics kind of thing. It's really what it takes to make that team hit that ground.
Yep.
That piece.
Scotty told me that.
Yeah, that is an old.
Was the first one that I heard that from Scott. I'm sure he stole it from someone else too, but I always credit it to him. He was the first one that told me that.
I can't remember if it was Napoleon or Patton, but there's actually, again, who it was off the top of my head. Yeah.
But now that we're talking about infills, I'm sitting here talking to you. Of course, my mind races to different missions that we were on in Afghanistan and Iraq. And as soon as you started talking about, like, as you're landing, there's things going over the headset, and there's something my mind rushed back to that I haven't thought of in a long time. Do you remember, as soon as we landed and started to depart, you would say something to the dive team as we ran off the bird? Do you remember what it is?
I do not remember this. Don't fuck this up. Don't embarrass me.
You know what? You say it as a joke because you've said that before. And Jess, you would never say that on the objective because you knew what we were capable of.
I can't remember what I said, man.
Sharks in the water.
Oh, that's right. Sharks in the water. Yeah, man. It's been a minute.
Yeah, I always remember that coming over the headset. Sharks in the water, which is great because it goes back to the mentality that you wanted us to have.
Yeah.
When we hit that ground, that we were the most dangerous people there.
Yep.
We've trained and proven it.
Yeah.
Go out there and act like it. Sharks in the water.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that, dude. Yeah, it's crazy. I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah. Back to the movie. I did want to ask you one question. Did you got some interaction with Mel Gibson?
Yeah.
Correct. He treats you good. Did he know you were a Green Beret?
No, he
at the time. You don't think he did?
But we had so work on the set. We worked quite a bit with him, piece, and we actually had I didn't know how old he was, and we had a joke going on the thing because they had to figure out, as a group of us hanging out, kind of thing. We're gonna get a bet on how old he was, and at the time I think he was like 45 or 43 or something like that. And if you ever get close to Mel, he's got a lot of scars from I guess he got jumped when he was in Australia a long time ago. So he's got some scars on his neck and so forth that you don't really see. He looks a little older.
Okay. By a group of kangaroos, I'm assuming.
Kangaroos, probably, yeah. Okay. They know how to do it in Australia.
It's Australia.
Kangaroo thing. And he came up and he's asked, "What are you guys doing?" And he goes, "Hey, I had a bet how old you were." And he goes, "Well, I said his age was like 43 or 45." And he goes, "Well, how old?" And everybody else was like, 46, 48. But he said, "Keane said you were 55." And I was like, "God damn it, man." And so he plays a lot of practical jokes kind of thing on film. But that night we were working out, and it was just him and his his caddy, his sport guy, generally speaking, runs around with him. And it was me and my buddy were in there kind of working out together, and we were talking about back when he was in Benning for training people like that, and he noticed my shoulder was messed up, and he's asking me, what do you what's wrong with your shoulder? I said, well, I kind of hurt a little while ago. It seems to be out of place. He goes, I've been through a lot of physical fitness, physicians and all that kind of stuff. I can fix this. Let me take a look at it, kind of thing. And so
Mel Gibson's going to fix your shoulder?
Oh, yeah. Mel Gibson's going to fix my shoulder here. And I'm kind of like, oh, man, he's trying to get back at me. And so he rolls up I had my Ranger sweatshirt, matter of fact, and he rolls up behind my shoulders, and he's kind of pushing on my shoulder. And Mel is a very, he's got a lot of BO. He's a stinky man. And so he's leaning against me, right? And he's trying to pop my shoulder against the wall. And I was like, no. And he goes, let's do this. Get on the ground. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put the your sweatshirt between your shoulder blades. And then what he does, he straddles me now. So now he's sitting on top of me. And my friend I was with, he's like, oh, Jesus, no, Sean, don't do this. So Mel gets to straddle me on the ground, right? And he puts his arms on my shoulders. He goes, when I say 3, drop your arms, and I'm going to push down on your shoulders.
Okay.
I said, okay. So 1, 2, 3, drops. And he begins to like pounce up and down on me, knock my shoulders there. He does like 3 or 4 times, and he goes, how's it feel? I go, it's fixed. We're good. We're good. Just get this guy off me, man.
Get it over
this
with.
guy off me, man. Yeah. So we're working with Mel quite a bit. Yeah.
Right.
Sam Elliott was really cool. I like working with Sam. Sam was he never took his stuff off. He played the characters through and through.
Mm-hmm.
Other actors, they all took their gear off when in between set. He always kept that stuff on. And he was pretty solid, dude.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Again, you've lived a full life, Sean, and we haven't even gotten into combat yet. You've lived a full life.
This is why it goes 3 hours, right?
Yeah, I know, and I am watching the time. So we're gonna fast forward a little bit. Of course, like you went into combat as a younger guy.
Yeah.
Before I went there, while I was still in the Q course.
Yeah.
Those orders is what got me to the Q course. You guys go to combat.
Yeah.
For that team, I want to say for the first time, or was that for the first time for you as well? The 2003 time frame.
First time, yeah, with the team.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll just kind of go over this because I want to go over to Iraq.
Yeah.
Real quick. But we've said it before on the podcast. I was lucky enough to get to combat in 2005 with a team that had been once, or certain guys on the team multiple times, and they haven't figured everything out.
Right.
But those first trips, people don't realize how much we were still figuring out in combat.
Yeah.
And I'm certain that was the way how it was for you guys as well.
It was. You're because you're now in obviously the desert terrain you're in and everything. It changed everything. Of how you move vehicle wise and all that kind of stuff. So and guys were coming back. Every time a guy would come in out of the field or something, we would talk to each other about getting TTPs and hey, change this up, work with this, works better this way. It really came down back just to basic fundamentals. Like anything you thought was fancy, you need to get rid of it and keep the fundamentals of firefighting. Because those days we were pushing out 2 weeks at a time, and it was like it reminded me of the Rhodesian Rangers out of South Africa kind of piece, man. You would go 2 weeks, and you're working off a 5W, man, and you're just looking for bad guys, and you're just dirty and nasty, and you're sleeping in the field, and you're finding huts, and you're sleeping in them, and just doing stuff, and come back, and you do refit for like a week, and then you push back out on an operational piece, But you were obviously, everything you did, and everything was a boneyard there, so you would find vehicles, and you would take parts from those vehicles to make your vehicle better. And we could cut up any vehicle we wanted at that point, and we had them gutted, and had all your rucks and stuff hanging off them and moving across kind of thing. It was like that whole Desert Fox kind of piece,
Yeah.
And it was fantastic days, and you kind of look at it,
Right.
Because as wars go on, politics play a role, and politics gain more and more roles as years go on kind of piece,
Yeah.
So.
And then by the time I meet up with you, I had done a rotation in Afghanistan. I strapped hang with another team to go to Afghanistan. And while I'm in Afghanistan, I get a message from our company and said, "Hey, we're spinning up. We're going to Iraq. Do you want to meet us over there?" And as a single Green Beret, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I missed the train up with you guys, and I met you guys in country. You hadn't been in country very long.
No.
But one thing I want to talk about, I fell into something that ended up my very first mission with you guys was something really unique. And I don't know if I've seen it since. I know it's happened since, but it's so rare to get one of these in SF.
Yeah.
And that was a company-wide hit.
Yep.
That's almost unheard of to send 5 ODAs out simultaneously to hit targets under one operation.
It was in the crit.
That's right. And we're staying in Saddam's palace.
Yep, staying in Saddam's palace. Yep.
And that's I'd met you, but before I left, I knew who you were. We were far from
Everybody
friends.
did, I mean.
All right. I think I told you this story. The first person I saw was your Ranger School buddy. You said his first name already.
Yep.
Mark.
Yep.
I was in their vehicle first, moving to Saddam's palace, and he goes, because I had already gone with them to South America, and had a relationship with that team, and he goes, "Hey, if you want, we got your stuff ready. You can just come with us." And I said, "Well, I'm supposed to go to 1-5." He goes, "Oh yeah, you can, but if you want to stay with us, like you're your own man." if you want to come with us, I'll hash that out.
Yeah.
You want to talk about putting a new guy in a predicament? And he was a very senior guy.
He's a team commander, too.
And he's a team commander saying, no, just come with us. You like us, right? Like we had a good time in South America. Why don't you just stay with us? And having to say, no, I really want to go to that team that I don't know.
Yeah.
But I knew I wanted to be on that team. And had to disappoint him and say, you really, all right, you don't have to. Like that's what you want to do.
And
that's what
Mark came from that team.
He
came from that team. Yeah.
And so that was my first night in Iraq. I met you guys at Saddam's Palace, and we did a. I barely knew the plan, and we took off and hit several targets as a company. Malhawala.
Yeah.
And that the even though it wasn't the sexiest of missions, a firefight type missions. Do you remember the reason for that mission and the aftermath of that mission?
I do. So it was the Malhawala was generally kind of follow the money kind of piece.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking for the ledgers, and the ledgers kind of dictate where the money went and who got the money across Europe kind of piece.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're after. And part of that whole operation, and like I don't even know. You always talk. Sometimes you kind of wonder how am I crossing the line on clearance wise, kind of thing. Don't know what it. I mean, that's a long time ago now, so you assume it's probably come and gone. But we would do hits in order, and we would secure the objective, secure the bad guy, but what was going on was there was a secondary thing going on, tracking wise. So we would take the bad guy out, and then we release everybody for particular reasons in order to be able to follow them and see how they're moving and who they're talking to at that point kind of piece. And that's where we shut down all of generally the money laundering, the money moving through Europe for all of these terrorist training camps and all that kind of stuff for a short period because they'll come back.
Right. That was the first time I really got to see the other side of special operations, which there's always the cool side, right, of firefights, high value targets, but high value targets, leadership can be replaced a lot easier than money can, and wars stop when the funding stops.
Yeah,
and to see us go after what was intellectually a much better target set, and the secondary and tertiary effects of what we did that day far outweighed fighting in the streets of Iraq.
And that's the thing that people don't. I think that's what happened with the generations of war of SF and Rangers and it's mainly SF and Delta kind of thing. Primarily SF, I think, really comes down to it is that CQB hitting hard targets with that's just a small part. Special operations, truly, what you really look at the in-depth of what these guys got to go in. It's doing the CTR stuff. It's doing the plainclothes stuff. It's doing all the Blackbird stuff. That truly is special operations kind of thing. Everybody does CQB. Now, there are people who are very good at CQB. That is their job, hostage rescue kind of stuff. But everybody does CQB. Everybody wants to go do that, but they don't realize that all the other real true special operations stuff, and that goes back to the OSS days and all that kind of stuff, that's true special operations. So, and that's where the term operator comes from, was the OSS days, World War II thing. Yeah.
And you were a very aggressive team sergeant, which is why I wanted to go to that team. I assumed, but it was a safe assumption based off your personality that we were going to get after it. But that was something else that you were very good at as a team sergeant, to say, yes, we will hit targets and we will kick down doors, and that is a piece of it.
That's what we're here for.
But our ASO cell, our intel cell, you also gave us a lot of leeway and allowed us to do a lot of special operations things, plainclothed.
Yeah.
And you did a very good job holistically as an ODA, saying we're going to do everything well, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
We're going to do everything well.
Yeah.
And we're still going to, not a lot of teams trained in country. Sometimes it's just go time. We trained really hard in country as well. We worked out really hard.
Yeah.
They were fun trips, but they were long days of either hitting targets, continue to train to hit targets, or get in better physical shape.
It goes back to the thing, always proving your fighting position, right? You should be, if you're not hitting targets, you're training, especially medical wise, man. I was like, hey, drive her down, stuff like that is you got to get on, because it's easy to get lost, and all the stuff. And suddenly when something really goes bad like that, it's, hey, we got to get back on it kind of thing. And if you don't train for it and maintain that training, it's just, even though you're in a war, you still got to maintain some training going on. You got to do your NCORs. You got to.
Yeah. Well, not just that. I mean, you say that a little bit in jest. There's something else that I remember that you did really well that I think people with swagger and overconfidence can overlook. And that's we got it. Don't worry about the contingencies. We got it. Don't worry. We're going to put these snipers, and they're going to hang it all out there. But this is the QRF. We've seen it a bunch. But the QRF isn't really the QRF because you have overconfidence in your guys or your abilities. And anytime we put guys out there to let it all hang out, as annoying as it is for us back in the rear, when they called and they're compromised, and they did, we were in those vehicles in minutes, and we went and got our guys.
Yep, that's true.
We were always prepared for everything.
That's just kind of the whole thing, man. It's just, once you come back, you're resetting, right? It's just always being ready to go when it's time to go. And then it came later on with my leadership-wise, too. It came back to looking to those teams. Who are the teams ready to go? And it came down, if they can handle the small details, they can handle the big problems kind of thing, details. And that's where the people don't understand that, too, is that there are certain teams you let go because you're not worried about it. They're fire and forget. They're going to handle themselves. You trust them. They know what they're going to do. And there's other teams you kind of keep closer to the flagpole kind of piece. You're like, But, 1-5 was always that team. Like, man, fire and forget. They're going to go make it done.
Fire and forget those guys. The Halo team. Let's keep them a little. Not our Halo team per se. Just any particular Halo team. That wasn't putting an ODA number to it.
Oh man, he calls about this later. Guys mocking us.
So we went from that deployment, deployments down the road. You continued to move up. Now you look like you're 14.
Yeah, 14. Yep.
And you're a company sergeant major.
Yeah.
And in charge of six. We had 6 ODAs at that time, and now we're back in Afghanistan. Some people are going to say you gave us the commando mission because we were your favorite, but we know 100% we earned that mission because we were the best. Yeah. I know that. I do. I know you wanted to give us that mission, and I know you would not have given us that mission if we weren't the best.
And
I do know that.
That's exactly it, man. There's no doubt about it. Of course, you want to get your team. If the team wasn't worthy of it, because it came down to it, you would embarrass me, and I don't want you to embarrass me, No, but it did come down to it. It's like the team earned it. Maybe we're like, oh, it's your old team. He goes, no, man, a team earned it, man. They're still that same team. They're out there driving. They're hard and they want to get at it. But they want to get at it in a smart way. They're not going to do stupid things. They're going to make those right decisions when the right decision has to be made.
And 20th group, it is unique. You can't really force anyone to promote to some degree. And what I mean by that is it's a good thing, it's a bad thing. Yeah. We've had team sergeants have been team sergeants for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. I don't think it's out of the realm of possible. We've had some long tenured team sergeants for sure, without having to put an exact number to it. I believe you could have been a team sergeant continuing to our next Afghanistan rotation, but you decided to move up. Obviously, that gave Rick an opportunity to be team sergeant. But why did you want to be? Whether you wanted, why? I don't want to put words in your mouth and say that you wanted to be the company sergeant major. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Why take the next step when you could have stayed on the team and had fun? Is what I'm saying. I don't mean that to sound bad, but I think you understand the question I'm asking you.
I do, and there's kind of two reasons. You have to know when you're holding people up. Mm-hmm. You've got to move forward or get out, kind of thing. Yeah, I could have had fun. You could have left. You stay in the team, but it was time to allow the other guys to move up. You don't want to be that guy in the team too long because see, what is it? You want to burn out or fade away, kind of thing, right?
Right.
Kind of, and it's the same. It was that time, so the opportunity came up, and in my mind is the next step for me to take the swagger of 1-5, take it to the next level to try to create more swagger across the company swagger. That was the kind of the key to how do we go and build from there. You know,
Absolutely.
so that's where my decision came to that piece.
There are people that complain about leadership, and it kills me. I go around the country, training SWAT teams now, and I get it, but to some degree, my answer is always this: well, if you can complain about leadership, or you can become leadership.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the next company sergeant major would have been that you were in contention with. If you didn't put, if you didn't put your hat in the ring, I don't know who it would have been. We as a company were very happy because you were a known quantity.
Right.
But we're glad you did it, because you could have just stayed keeping 1-5 good. And like I said, but now you can affect 6 different teams.
Yeah.
And if good guys don't leave to take next leadership positions, then who's going to?
Someone who's not good. Yeah.
And usually it's someone who shouldn't. Usually it's someone who's chasing leadership and power rather than reluctantly saying, someone's got to do it. I'll do it. And I respected you a lot for that as well. And when you say you took the culture of 1-5 and you brought it to the company, I don't have to remind you, but the stats absolutely prove that. That National Guard company sent 5 or 6 operators to the Delta Force in a matter of a couple years.
12.
How many?
We sent 12 guys.
12 guys. Through A? Yep. Now, someone went to support positions.
Some went to support,
yeah.
Yeah.
But the majority of them
Majority became operators.
Operators. Yeah. There was a time the unit asked us, and they said, hey, what is going on with A320? Why have they sent us not just the most amount of people, but the highest rate? It's one thing to send a lot of people, but you sent 30 guys.
Yeah.
And so you're playing with the numbers a little bit.
Yeah.
I think everyone we sent, except one that I can think of, I'll tell you his name.
I know one. Yeah.
Neil. I would just say Neil's for one, but 1 or 2 didn't get a job at the unit.
Yeah.
Which is just insane numbers. It's insane numbers.
Yep.
And not to just sit here and continue to flatter you, but that's statistics,
We were pretty happy with that. Like I said, we would they'd call us and get hey, can we send down a recruiter to talk to you guys personally, kind of thing down there, kind of thing. Like,
right.
Sure can. Yeah,
At some point, we're like, you can't have all my good guys.
I know. Yeah. Still got some deployments coming up, guys.
Right.
Appreciate calling, but come on, man. But actually, I would catch shit for that later on too from higher commands. Hey, man, you're pushing guys out of the unit and go, well, they're going a good place, man. So,
I know. Good.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. You supported me as much as anyone could have supported me to take my next step. I always say it. There's people who give people a hard time overtly, and there's people who give people a hard time more covertly, if you will, where they just shame them into staying and be like, yeah, you should probably do that. But we got one more trip, and I'd really like you on this next trip.
Yeah.
And you don't know when that window is going to close.
Yep.
I wanted to go, and you did everything in your power to allow me to be ready to go and allow me to go when I wanted to go.
Yeah.
Otherwise, said you don't know when that window closes.
Yep.
So
thank you, man. It's all about windows, man.
Appreciate you for that. From the company sergeant major side, just one more story I just want to share with you. And it's you come on target with us once, and of course we always want to get on target. But you knew better and you did the right thing, and you rarely came out on target with us. But it's still your job to come out on target every now and again and see what's going on for yourself.
Yeah.
And you came out. Of course, we were all looking a little bit because the dynamics of this is a little different.
Operation Grinch.
Yes. Not only are you the boss, the company sergeant major, but in this dynamic, you're a guest on this mission, and who's really running the mission is the team sergeant. Yet this also used to be your team, and you were the team sergeant of this mission, and you're the company sergeant major, and we're all deep down kind of looking and be like, all right, this is going to be fun because Sean's our boy. We're so glad he's here. How's this going to work out?
Yeah.
And what was one of the first things you told Rick when you hit the ground?
Oh,
or maybe even before you left?
I can't even remember, man.
It was the talk that you said, hey, I just want to let you know this is my role here.
Yeah, it's your team. I'm just I'm a guy in the background, manage your team, run it kind of thing. until
Yeah.
I tell you not to. Just kidding. I didn't say that. No.
Yeah, but you did. You again. It just goes to your character. You let us run amok on that mission, and even though you were the boss and you could have pulled any string you wanted to at any time, you were just a great. Where do you need me, guys?
Yeah.
And it's always weird. At that time, I was a senior guy on the team, but I knew if I needed you to pull security over there, that hey, if then Sean would just go pull security over there.
Yep.
And that was really cool to see you adapt to that.
It was that mission. I remember once we hit, you guys doing your thing, and the problem is too, you adventure off, you get caught up in the moment. The next thing I know, I'm like 3 or 4 buildings away with some rando, and I got to get back to you guys. Like, I'm a goddamn sergeant major. Man. I gotta get back to the goddamn team. And I remember we hunkered down for the night. I went to sleep, and I woke up the next morning. And apparently there was a gunfight. We had an AC-130 drop, and I didn't hear any of this stuff. I was out. I didn't hear any of that, man. The C-130 did a low resupply drop on for you guys, and I was like, I didn't hear any of that stuff. I was out.
That was the mission. That was a really cool mission. That as the helos are inbound from a pretty far away distance, but they're coming. They're like 30 minutes away. And we get last second intel given to us and like, hey, just so you know, there's a high value target, like a kilometer away from you guys, like right now. And it was a hard decision because you can go when the helos are inbound, like it's a lot to push them away. Like you're continuing to go this. Maybe that's just something we go and do for another day. Like that is an option. To do that, but Rick, who is the new team sergeant, looked at it, called the boys in, said, "Hey, this is." I was the echo, so I had the commo, so I got the information first. And of course, you know me, I'm always like, "We can do it. We can do it. We can do it." And Rick was really good about. He was very even keel. He was like, "Yeah, I know you say we can do it, Brent, but can we really do it? Hold on, give me a second." And we talked him into it to some degree, but he said yes because he knew we could do it. Yeah. And we did an all-out sprint for about 3/4 of a mile with a skeleton crew, and went and hit that target, grabbed the guy. Yep. By the time we got back, sprinting back another 3/4 of a mile in full kit, and the birds were coming in just about ready to flare. Yep. And we get everybody in there, and we hit that bird completely exhausted,
tired, really.
But we could do it, and we did it. Yeah. And it's not to boost our own self, up, but we could do that. We could physically do that because we've proven we can do that, and that's the type of physical condition we were in and could do. And I don't think every team could have done that or should have done that.
No, I agree. Yeah, and it's the problem is time is ticking, right? So it's like, don't hesitate. If you're going to do it, do it.
Right.
Go. Yeah. You got the right people in the team to make the right decision. Go. Pick your fastest guys, enough guys for your security, and hit the target. No, man, go. Yeah.
Yeah. I do believe I did a lot of time-sensitive targets, later on. That was my job. Yeah. That has got to be to this day the from flash to bang, the quickest we've ever got intel, beta plan, hit a target, and came back. There's no way you can do it faster than that. After that, I ended up leaving and going to the unit. Mm-hmm. But you continued after that. Yep. You didn't stop at company sergeant major. You went to go be the battalion sergeant major for 20th Group. How different was that? Because I feel like when at a company level, you're kind of still with the boys. Do you feel like that's when the politics really hit hard and you really feel separated at a battalion level?
Yes.
The beginning of it?
You do, because you don't have necessarily the quality of people, but there's a lot of good people up there, man, but you just don't have necessarily the same people you've been working with, kind of thing. And their mentality may be a little different than your mentality, kind of piece, leadership always changes, man. You have, no matter what you do, people are like, oh, I had a bad tour, a bad leadership. Man, everybody has one, dude.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't mean you get out. You just, you're going to have good ones. You just got to rotate through it. And so you're going to have those issues. So when you got to battalion, it was a little different, from the former CSM and me coming in, So he, to be honest, he still had some of his almost minions that say up there kind of thing,
Right.
that I had to kind of deal with. Kind of piece. It seemed like they were undermining me at times and other things, and it's like, and that wasn't what I was trying to do, so it was.
I don't mean it in the literal sense, but at some point, does it start feeling lonely? If you know what I mean, like lonely because you're not surrounded by your boys. You're not surrounded by 5 or 6 team sergeants you can depend on.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it starts to feel a little more lonely at the top?
It does a little more lonely at the top, and like I said, you don't have the guys you're used to counting on, or their thought process, what fire and forget kind of thing, and you're suddenly at battalion level. And a lot of guys, the battalion levels are, to be honest with you, guys that weren't doing well at teams or something, so now they're at the battalion level pulling a staff position or something like that.
Right.
And so you got to go deal with that. Not all of them like that. We got good guys up there too, but there are definitely a sprinkling of people that they have their own agenda, let's say, and their agenda is sometimes undermining your agenda, and you're the CSM kind of thing, and it's kind of like, this is getting annoying. Yeah.
Is there something you remember fighting with or pushing hard at battalion when you're like, I had no, or something you had to deal with that was like, this is new to battalion level. I didn't even know this was as important as it was, or I can't believe I'm having to fight. This should be easier. And at a company level or team sergeant level, I didn't even know these were the fights that are being had.
I'm sure there were. I'm just trying to think of what they were. But you start seeing a lot more because, like I said, as the wars went on, it was more politics now, right? So now it was who's going to get the next deployment, who's going to get the next fight, and what it takes to get that next fight kind of thing, And that was always kind of a weird thing, But it always came back to, and we mentioned earlier, because it's about the details. If the battalion and so forth can handle the details, then you can handle the big things. Handle the little things, you can handle the big things, and start to see that when all the numbers come across from across all the companies and teams, what they're missing, what's ready to go, kind of thing. It's like, shit, man, we've got to get this right because a lot of people were just going, hey, we just need to take care of the big things. All these little things, the admin things mainly. That if these aren't right, we're not moving forward. That team is not moving forward, kind of thing. And so trying to get on people and going, what's going on with this, And there's almost so much pressure you can put on people, It's like, hey, and do the right thing without being an asshole. It's like, hey, we need to turn this up. We need to get this right, or you're not going. Your team's not going.
No.
Let's say we have I don't know, just making something up right now. Hey, we have 4 teams going. We have 6 teams. You're going to take the 4 teams that are dialed in, and you start seeing all of back to amateurs talk tactics, professionals talk logistics. You see much more at that level. Understanding that kind of piece. What people don't understand is that so 1/3 is the operator, 2/3 are the supporting elements, and you have great supporting elements, but you can't do anything without that supporting element. That operator cannot get to the ground and hit the objective without that 2/3 that element to help them out to get to that objective, man. And luckily we get some great support guys,
Yeah, we did.
And I hate calling them support guys, they're a support guy at the special operator SF level. That's huge, did a great job. I could Munford, all those guys, man, just did great jobs. But that was one thing you really saw more. You really had to dial in at what it took logistically to make things happen.
At the end of your battalion sergeant major time, battalion command sergeant major time, was there a time you're like, maybe this is it for me? I have the time. I might retire, or did you know you wanted to continue doing more things? You still had the fire there to move up and do more.
Yeah, the fire was still there, and their positions were starting to move Later on, I would realize when I was I was with Rear Admiral Williams, so I was his SEL in the Iraq-Syria piece at the end of 1920, and I was having a great conversation with him. He really wanted to pick up NSW, be the commander for NSW,
okay.
And as a 2-star billet, But everything, especially at that command levels now, especially when you get that 06 and above, you start to realize that it's all about windows and timing. And they look at the CSM, SELs at that level and the generals at that level that they're all the same. Doesn't matter what you've done, you're all the same. So if you're in a position over here and that position over there, guess what? Someone else is getting it. You're missing that slot.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a hard reality because I saw leadership that, no, they're not all the same. Not at all.
No, they're not.
Not at all. That
You're
1
right.
2-star should not be commanding, guys on the ground, stuff like that. But they don't look at that level kind of thing, And that was kind of heartbreaking in a little way, They weren't looking for not even the right person. They're just looking, hey, he fits the mold, put him in, kind of thing. And I was like, I was kind of disappointed to see that at certain levels.
Yeah.
But they're always pretty good at having if you're at a questionable commander, you had a good SEL or vice versa. So it was kind of the yin and yang always kind of worked out well to be able to support each other. But that's when you saw it. Higher levels.
I understand why they do that. And in my career, that was done to me, and it's. I understand why they do that, but it's really not fair to the strong NCO to be paired up with a weaker counterpart. On paper, it sounds really good, but if there's a slight difference, if there's a slight difference between the two. Those two can work together.
Yeah.
But if you have a really strong counterpart and a really weak counterpart, you're actually it's really just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
And that's when people start moving offices and not talking to each other. And it's because you can't, it's very difficult. It's very difficult.
It is. Most of when I had the command team, like most of the commanders I worked with were very approachable and worked well with me, generally speaking. Had a few that were questionable, but a lot of a conversation we had was that when him and I went to the commander and I went to a room, no matter what a decision went to, we would come out, there'd be no light between us. We would stick with that decision kind of thing, walking out. And that was key, even though there was a few times that got changed a few times. And I was just like, we talked about this. I don't understand why it's suddenly changing now. It's his prerogative as the commander. And he can do that,
There's been a culture shift throughout the years of the GWAT, and there was a lot of good shifts. There's a lot of good shifts tactically. There's a lot of good shifts culturally. That hey, we're not playing Army anymore. You better be ready to get called up.
Yeah.
But I don't know when the shift exactly changed to put a finger on it. But I know you saw it as well, and the NCO Corps got gutted a little bit as far as who they are and what they bring as a counterpart. What I mean by that is I've seen just too many times the officer walk around as like he's the boss and he's the man, and it's almost like his sergeant major counterpart was just there to just do his bidding rather than to advise him.
And that's true, and that really comes back to that commander. And when I went to a meeting, whatever it was, with the counterterrorism guys in Iraq and that kind of piece, me and the commander, I was always there. He would make sure that I was there every time with him. I saw other ones at higher levels that CSM or SEL was sitting out there in the lobby while he was in there talking to the counterpart commander inside there.
Crazy.
And I was like, that's on the fault of that commander. He should be like, he needs to be in here, especially this one, too much. That guy, he was actually former 5th Group commander, 5th Group CSM, and that guy had a world of knowledge, and you wanted that guy in that room because he had been through this so many times. And that 1 2-star that had him sitting in the lobby, and I was just like, that is the wrong answer.
Right.
That guy needs to be in that room with you because he has so much history on the ground in this country that guy did not. He may have had experience in the air, not on the ground, that guy. So it was interesting to see that. But you're right, they were gutting it and not taking advantage for what it should be. The greatest asset to any commander is the SEL. That is the greatest advisor he's going to have.
Yeah. So at the end of your career, the combat operations in Iraq have changed.
Yeah.
Of course, ISIS is now the focus. It's more of a northern focus. We're not. There's not a lot of combat operations offensively going on in Baghdad. It's just changed, generally speaking. But that doesn't mean everything was safe there all the time. I think the Soleimani airstrike stirred up some things for you while you were there.
Yeah,
tell me about that one.
So that was that's a whole podcast on that one, man. It was interesting to see at the end of the careers. Obviously, when you get command levels, you get bored at times. The boys are out running, and you want to be out running a little bit, and it gets kind of boring at times. You're just still overseeing everything, kind of thing. Go to cool meetings, do this and this, But what happened was that what led up to actually with the embassy attack in Baghdad during that time period was that we had one of my my interpreter, one of our interps got killed from a bombing, not a bombing, but a rocket attack on one of the bases in Iraq. And they've been leading up to this. We've been getting a lot of rockets, all that stuff going on kind of piece. So I flew back down to Kuwait to do the ramp service. But I knew that night we were going to do a hit on the border of Iraq and Syria on one of the camps there. But once that hit, I said I knew I had to get back. Once I got back, that next morning that's when Qatar Hezbollah. I went to the roof. Matter of fact, I had my Marine comm guy on the roof. And he's like, "Hey, CSM, something weird's going on up here." So we rolled up to the top of that roof, the blue dome up there, and so there's a separation between the DoD, Department of Defense, and Department of State. Right,
Okay.
it's a single road. Right, you have the embassy over here, and you got the government over here, but that road is blocked off. Only people can ride with our DOS or DoD going back and forth, kind of piece. But I get up to the roof and I look over and I see a caravan of Qatar Hezbollah flags and AK-47 vehicles coming right down that road, and I was like, shit.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting up there. This is my secondary, kind of thing, and the distance was very short, But they came in, they attacked the U.S. Embassy at that point, but it wasn't like they weren't shooting. There was all Molotov cocktails, rocks, all that kind of stuff. A lot had going on. They weren't going against the DoD side. They're going against the DOS side, on the embassy side. So we had to get everybody out of there. We're getting the ambassador out, and there's all kinds of stuff going on. Get exfil and everybody out of there, and just kept rolling on. But there was a lot of senior Iraqis in that crowd that government-wise that were throwing rocks too, are part of that crowd kind of piece, and that elevated to, let's say, to a point where the POTUS number one target was Soleimani.
Yeah.
That and a couple of nights into it, I'm trying to think. I got bit by the dog leading up to that. I had to get rabies shots, trying to get everybody out. It was
always something.
There's a lot of stories from that whole time period. Coalition stealing food from inside the compounds. It was just ridiculous. It was an absolutely shit show. But we were maintaining our part kind of piece, But then when the Soleimani piece happened, that night, that evening, because POTUS said, "Hey, got number one target, execute number one target." Soleimani was executed that early that morning, and then that just changed. Like, we're waiting for the ballistic missile attack, ground assault. It really led into a lot more than I'm saying on this thing, but it was a huge amount of 82nd came in. Remember that? They brought the deployed 82nd in. Next thing you know, I got a platoon of 82nd guys. What do I put to you guys? Kind of thing. So I literally went from the CSM SEL position to I'm a platoon sergeant again, and running these guys around, looking for fighting positions and getting ready for the big fight kind of thing too.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy because during that time frame, the only thing you hear about is the Soleimani strike, which was great. Should have happened a long time ago. That guy had it coming for a while. We just love him or hate him, but we finally just had a president in charge that had the guts to do what needed to be done on that one. But I don't think anyone heard, other than a couple random retaliatory strikes back that didn't really do much damage. Yeah. And I get it, on the news, that's about all that's worth reporting to them. But the ground truth and the chaos that followed was just quite different.
It was quite different, man. They had 7 sorties of ballistic missiles. It was game on at that point. And so I remember. So we had I had stayed on. So the commander asked me if I would stay on to get everybody out and then to do the final elimination of the building kind of thing. And that the biggest thing was post security, get everybody out of here, fly them out, and then we would figure out our own way out kind of thing. So I held 20 guys back up. I asked them to volunteer. They all volunteered to stay. There weren't very many soft guys because there weren't any soft guys in there. It was all staff, generally speaking, Right. So this is all, maybe had like 4 or 5 soft guys, and the rest were all staff, but good staff, man. I had my Jag was there. He was on the roof, ready to go, and just all were there. But once we got everybody out of there, people don't realize we call ourselves Task Force Combat Hippo. That was our call sign. I was like, why not? I remember we're cooking steaks, and we found some beers, and we knew that, hey, this is about to get it on. And we're the last 20 left, and the objective was too. It was like, and obviously a lot more happened in between. I mean, when people were getting on birds, we took all their ammo. They're only allowed to leave one mag apiece because we didn't have hardly any ammo. Our 50 cals had 2 cans. Our Mark 19s had 2 cans. We had no grease for the Mark 19s. We had to get our guys got grease off the vehicles to use for the rail system to the Mark 19s. People don't realize how down. So we kept everybody's ammunition. We kept all the food and water. We gathered up in a central location. We looked for all granola bars, all waters, all that stuff. Some people left. They had to leave all their stuff so that we had something to survive on because there was nothing coming in.
Yeah.
So we had to collect all that stuff up. We had moved all of the, even prior to this, man, we had set up all the ammo cans, with loaded magazines, grenades, all that stuff, in central locations so you can get to them. They were locking them up because they were afraid that Joe soldier would take the grenades and stuff. And so I was like, it kind of ruins the point. If you're locking them up, I can't get to them to be able to get to the gunfight,
Yeah.
And we had to cut the rails on top of the top of the building because to get our wounded off the top, we couldn't get them down with those rails. So we had to cut all the rails short in order to carry those guys down.
Yeah.
And we were even setting up a zip line so we could hook the guys in the bags and zip them down when it came down to it, It was all preparation for this shit show that was about to happen.
You think those guys that mob, that Hezbollah mob that was, coming down and destroying things, you think if they knew what a weak target that you guys were, you think they would have pushed harder on you?
I think they would have. I think they would have turned and maybe moved that direction. And they don't realize that. I mean, even the coalition we had there, man, it was just like I said, man, it was when you see it and you're like, you can't believe what's going on. Like even stealing of the food and stuff, you're like, this is ridiculous. We had to have the base commander, and he was actually an SF guy, a colonel. He had to put guards on the food so people weren't stealing the food. And our location is secure and different. Still on the main triangle base, but we're secured special op compound kind of thing. The headquarters. And it was so to see this stuff. And but the funny part was people were like, well, how are you getting out of there? How's your 20 guys getting out? So I separate 20 people. Say I can get 20 people in a CH-47, or I can divide it up into back. How many people can get in a helicopter? Always one more.
One more. That's right. Oh, while you're telling that story, it just reminds me of the same story you said earlier about you ain't in the team house, you ain't in the team room anymore.
Yep.
And now you're up here dealing with all this outside of your normal known environment, and you got to think to yourself, I'm not in the team room anymore.
and it was funny because we had the Australians, their soft guys were with us too, and staff, and they were really good dudes, but how they set things up were different than we, right? So I said, hey, get to the roof, go ahead and set up fighting positions, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, wheel, like a patrol base kind of thing, I get up there and I didn't say that to them. I should have given better guidance. I get up there and they're all colors. Like there's different colors around. I don't know what's going on here. He goes, well, this is the color blue. This is 12. I'm like, no. We need a 12 o'clock. We need 6 o'clock. I don't want colors. I just need to know clockwise.
Right. Now we got to remember what colors and what direction.
But and that was kind of, and then we actually had to go through too with I took actually my the boat guy, Naval Special Warfare boat guy. He was really good on weapons, and I had him pull up, and I had him teach people on the 240, the Mark 19, and the 50 cal a quick overview to get these guys dialed in. If they have to take over that weapon, you need to know what you're doing, kind of thing,
Yeah.
So, but it was very, very interesting time period, And then I busted my ankle really bad, so I had to tape it up. And so when it was all said and done, I 24 hours later, whenever all went down, I was sitting in Kuwait at a Starbucks having a star, I got a coffee, and I'm still nasty, and I've got tape wrapped around my foot, and some officers come looking at me like, what are you doing, CSM? Just like, get the fuck away from me.
Not now, buddy.
Yeah, not right now, man. Not right now.
At least nobody cried.
Well, that's not true. Yeah. That's not true. And it goes back to that mentality, when you're used to around a bunch of meat eater team guys, there's no question about what's going on.
Right.
Things got to get done. You're not worried about the stuff. But I remember when the first sortie of ballistic missiles was coming in, we had people in the center of the building down below, kind of in this built-up building, concrete building. And I said, hey, 1 minute out. I said, turn your headlamps on so we can find your bodies. And his girl started crying. I was like,
there's no crying in combat.
No, man, no. I remember someone asking me that, why are we wearing headlamps? I go, so I can find your body.
I love it, Sean. As I've stated earlier, it's one of the things I always appreciated about you. Whether you like what you say or not, you tell the truth.
straightforward.
You're a straight shooter. Well, after 31 years of service, you finally decided to retire, and we always, for all of us who have retired, we've all found the same thing: is you're not going to replace it. You're not going to replace it. Those memories are memories, and they'll always be fond memories, and I'll always be appreciative of it.
Yeah.
But life goes on. There's a next chapter of life. Get busy. Do something. Find. I think of the word I'm looking for, so I edited this out.
Find your purpose.
Yeah, that's a big word. Purpose.
Yeah.
Find your purpose in life. How did you do that?
It was kind of so when I retired, it was, hey, I was still with my first wife. Still am.
Candy's going to love that.
And I had children late, so I had my son. He was 6, So it was kind of many of those things. You're like, well, do you want to? There was an opportunity to go to D.C. And continue on, but the wife was going to be like, no, you're going to be a geo bachelor in D.C. because I'm not leaving the beaches, kind of thing, And I understand. Yeah. So it was 31 years. You're like, you know what? It's look for your windows, look for your timing's right, kind of thing. And when I got out, I thought, hey man, my purpose was going to be, my son, and raise him and so forth, like that kind of piece. But you realize that can't be your sole purpose. Your son is going to start growing on his own and building his own way. You can give him guidance. He's got school. So I ran, did a little political thing, running for a little beach town mayor, didn't win, kind of thing. But really, where I found purpose, and to me, it's all about indicators. It's things show and things happen for reasons, kind of thing. I had gotten, but nothing getting bourbons. I drank a lot of bourbons, a lot of IPAs and stuff. And I started to shift gears because I wanted to be able to spend more time surfing, skating, working out with my son, kind of thing. I still wanted a good drink end of the day. I switched over to agave spirits. I started to focus on tequila. I came to find that tequila was more of a false positive. What I mean by that, to be a colored tequila, you only have to have 51% agave. All the rest can be mixtos. You can add vanillas and sugars, stuff like that. Yeah. Then one day, they say, mezcal found me. And I dove pretty hard into what's called mezcal. There was a lot of indicators, like I said, that came to me. If you go and look to a bar, you'll see all these shiny tequilas and stuff like that in the agave side of the house, But in the back, there's that unconventional guy. There's that special operator kind of thing hidden back there. Yeah. And that was always to me. And that just kind of brought more attention to me with mezcal. I dove more into it, the complexity of it, the purity of it, 100% agave. And just kind of fell more and more in love with it. And then I ended up going down to Mexico before I really started the brand. And it's kind of like that SF way. I went and met a maestro mezcalero, who's now my maestro. So he's my master, my teacher. And I saw how they did it all by hand. There was no shortcuts. The standards were the standards all the time. Right. And that was fine. That was my final piece right there. Yeah. That did it. There was no machines, nothing. And I was like, man, this is where I need to be. So I made good rapport with the maestro, and he said to me, he goes, if you really want to understand mezcal, come live with me and my family, and I will teach you artisanal mezcal. And at the time, my friend was down there, and he says, man, that has never been offered to anyone, let alone a gringo. And, right. And he says, you should do that. 6 months later, I would find myself immersed in the culture of the Zapoteca culture in Mexico, Mexico, building my brand by working literally scooping horse shit as an apprentice. You went from that 2-star, 1-star, 2-star level SEL, and now you're scooping horse shit because back then it shows you never know where life's going to take you.
Yeah. I love that about you because that's something else. I'm glad you brought that up and pouring that out. So many people leave the military. They want to find a purpose, but they're not willing to do what it takes to do it. Yeah. You left as a very high-ranking special operations command sergeant major. I left as a Delta Force operator. You don't. At the end of the, some people will, but it depends what you want to do. It doesn't mean you're just going to jump right over into the equivalent of what you spent 30 years doing. Why would you?
Right.
If you're going to start a business and you want it to survive, it's going to start at a lower level, and you're going to do everything. You don't have all these assistants anymore. No one works for you. You're the social media manager. You're the CFO. You're the CFO.
Yep.
You're the CEO. You're everything for this company, and they're just not willing to do what it takes and humble yourself to start it all over, to grow again.
Yeah.
And you did that.
I tell you, one of the when I retired, I was approached. You were at my retirement. I was approached by a friend, my brother's wife, and she said something to me. She goes, what you did for 31 years doesn't define you. And I was insulted at the time. I go, heck yeah, it does. Man, I've done all this stuff now. It defines me. It was 3 or 4 years later now that I'm doing this. It didn't define me. Because you're constantly redefining yourself. You're not rebuilding yourself. You're just redefining yourself. You're taking everything you've done in your career, in your lifetime, to build that what is that going to be that next level. You're just redefining yourself. So even when I'm down there, my long hair and stuff, I still surf and all that kind of stuff. But it's out there, like you said. The only way your brand is going to move is if you push it. Ain't nobody coming to rescue, man. You got to go out there and do it. You got to make everything happen if you want it to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily, I don't have to anymore. But in our first 2 years at FRCC, I'm at farmers markets peddling bags of coffee and be like, "Hey, here's our story. Here's what we do. Here's why we do it." And you have to, or else your business will die on the vine if you're not willing to hustle and do anything to keep it alive. No one remembers. Everyone knows now who Black Rifle is. It's so funny talking to those guys now, where there were days when they first got their online store and they would just wait and watch to see if an order came through.
Get excited, yeah.
Right. Yep. They always see the end result. They have no idea what it took to get there.
Yeah.
Years and years and years of hard work.
And it's and as you listen and talk to more business people too, it really comes down to it's relationships, man.
Isn't that the truth?
The relationships
That'll
you've
fast
built.
forward it.
Yeah, relationships you have built over all your time and all that stuff. But the relationships can get you in the door, but you still got to prove yourself when you walk in that door. And I do it every time I'm Mezcal. I get in there and I prove myself. And I think we're in like 45 locations now and building slowly, slow and steady. Because like I said, it's just you.
Right.
It's just you. You got to get up in the morning. You got to plan your stuff out. If you wanted it to succeed, you have to be on it. You have to be on that pedal.
But even though you have to humble yourself a little bit and do those things, the truth is, and in a good way, it's not an even playing field. If anyone else wanted to start this with no story, they have a huge uphill battle to start.
Yeah.
That 31 years of service, it's not all for nothing.
Right.
You have an amazing story. People are still very appreciative of vets. And if I want to go get a bottle of mezcal and there's a random one and one that's veteran known by a retired command sergeant major, I'm picking that one all day long. And you earned that. Yeah. You did. So you still the opportunities, you will have opportunities that the others don't have because you earned it. I do believe that. And those relationships that you've had or will have an opportunity to have because of what you earned.
That's true. I tell you, when I first started doing this, I really kept the military behind quiet. And the reason being, I treated the mezcals, my Okahana Agave, as one of my children. It can't ride on what I did.
Yeah.
I can help it push forward relationships, but it has to ride on its own. It has to grow on its own kind of piece. Because I can only take it my career can only take it so far. Yeah. It has to grow beyond that kind of piece. So I kind of, even on the bottle, it has, it has the SF crest and a dagger hidden in there kind of thing, That was obviously my nod to special operations kind of thing. But I needed it to be able to grow on its own, not to be able to ride in what I did in life, Of course,
balance. It's a balance.
It is a balance.
Yeah.
Of course, you want to push it now, but now as it grows more, you find you always go back to what you know, and the people who are going to support you are the military guys and all that kind of stuff. You do. At first, you're trying to be quiet about it. The next thing you know, they're very supportive and like, you're right. You take care of your own kind of thing. It comes back to it, So it's been a heck of a ride. We've only been in the States a year maybe a year and 4 months actually in the States and moving into mezcal itself. And then we have
What you got there?
this right here. This is for you, my friend. This is a very special batch. I only made 250. Made 250 for America's birthday, but it's in collaboration with the Green Beret Foundation.
Nice.
It's a special batch. It's called Robin Sage. Yep. And it went through 6 months to make this happen.
Made
because
from the tears of Q Course students.
I've collected them all. That's why I only have 250 bottles. But yeah, it's been like I said, 6 months to get all this leather pouches made in Mexico. Everything designed. It's in collaboration with the Green Beret Foundation.
pouch.
You know, we get the pouch to you. And it's pure leather made in Mexico, but you know they get all this approved and done. People, again, it goes right back. People don't understand that amateurs talk tactics, professionals talk logistics to make this happen. You know,
That's awesome.
and get in the States. And the funny part was we released it at Soft Week in Tampa, a month or so ago,
Saw you there.
and we had to do it. We were going to release it at Halo Happy Hour, right? I had
Okay.
6 months to make this happen, right? And at 5:59, it launched at 6 p.m. At 5:59 p.m., the bottles showed up at the Halo Hab. We finally got them in country and showed up, and we're there. Literally last minute, man. Yeah.
Why not?
Why
not?
it was like
Yeah,
6
yeah.
months. It's always going to be the last time, But yeah, we only made 250. Once they're gone, they're gone. And it's a portion of the proceeds goes back to the Green Brain Foundation. Take care of those who took care of you. And that was a key thing. So thank you, Brent, being a teammate, and I'm proud of you and what you've done and moving forward with Tier 1. And I'm glad you could humor me by bringing me on the show.
Well, trust. Unfortunately, you got the younger version of me, so I got more from you than you got from me. I guarantee you that, Sean. That's awesome. Where can they get this?
So you can get it right now. You can only get it online. It's
Okay.
on at okahanagave.com.
All right.
And there's actually
We'll
in there.
put the link in the description.
There in the side that you find is actually where I wrote about why it is and what it took to get this kind of build a bottle up, and then you kind of order it from down. Actually, the place that my online ordering is actually here in Orlando, kind of piece, and they push. Actually, I visited them today, so they push it out from there. Yeah.
How many different flavors or bottles do you have?
So of the Robin Sage, only one. It's
Right.
it's an ensemble of an Espadin and a Jabali. But normally Okan Agave, I have four. I have Angustifolio Espadin. Again, a lot of people may not know these. Mezcal is with tequila. You can only have one agave, a blue agave.
Okay.
And most tequilas, not all of them, they're getting better now, are all industrial. Now you have a lot of good small batch stuff being built, old school style. But with mezcal, I have over 20 agave plants I play with, and they all distinctly different tastes.
Okay.
And what it is open tub fermentation. That means once we crush it with the dehone of the horse, we put it in the tub and add the water, spring water. It's a natural fermentation from the air that gives natural fermentation. Whereas tequila, you have a foreign yeast, like a champagne or sake yeast a lot of the time.
Okay.
We use the fermentation from the air. So you're tasting the true agave, and you're tasting the true fermentation from the area.
Well, I feel a taste testing coming on in the garage, and we'll find out what cigar it pairs well with here in just a little bit.
There we go.
And that way we can be in the right state of mind for the live.
Live.
That's coming up. Before I let you go though, you do owe me one thing, and that's a funny story.
Okay, I'll tell you a funny story.
That was quick.
Yeah, knew this was coming. I got plenty of funny stories. I remember in 10/11 Afghanistan, your team was getting ready to push on we had a trigger-based con-up, and you guys were getting ready to release on it. And you guys were in the planning bay and had all your kit all laid out kind of thing. When people don't see it, they seem sexy, kind of, guys are sleeping in the hallways because you're waiting for this thing to get launched,
Right.
Birds are ready. They're not spun up yet until it gets triggered. And every time I'd walk in the room, the whole room would get quiet. They'll look at me like, "You getting ready? We ready?" I'm like, "Hey guys, update, blah blah," kind of thing. But there was an attack dog. An attack dog is full of testosterone, man. It isn't a bomb sniffing dog. It ain't a drug dog. It is an attack dog. And I remember went into you guys and I said, "Hey, it's time to get it on." And you guys were like, "Yes, get it on, get it." Well, Mark, the dog, had pissed all over Mark's kit.
That's right. I remember that.
And this is full testosterone attack dog piss, okay? And Mark throws it on, and he's like, "What the hell?" Sweating, just reeking of piss. It's like, it's time to go, buddy. We're gonna get on the bird.
Hey, you can have different uniforms. Let me tell you what. You got one kit. You got one plate carrier for the most part. That you take the battle with you.
And when he came back, because I had to go, goes, "Man, I was running. And every time I was running, it would hit and waft up my face. I smell the whole time. The objectives, man."
and it couldn't have happened to a better person. Because Mark doesn't deal with that, as well. He gets really frustrated at things.
But God, it was so funny, man.
That's a random one. When you started in, I thought you were going to tell an embarrassing story about me. But that was a great one. I forgot about it. Even when you started telling it, I didn't know what story you're telling. And I completely forgot about the working dog pissing on Mark's kit.
I will tell one more. I'll tell one more. The Brent Tucker story. Brent one. Why not? This is one of my favorite ones, too. This is directly involved with me in this one. We hit a target outside of Beijing, and we were doing SSE, so sensitive site exploitation kind of piece, getting all the intel, yada, yada kind of thing, collecting stuff. And you only have a certain amount of time. You want to be on the ground and get out of there kind of piece. And I was on the far side of the compound, and we had cleared compound had cleared that time, and obviously SSE. And I hear Brent comes over to the comms, and he's like, "Sean, where are you?" I was like, "I'm over on the far side, whatever." And he goes, "I need you generally in the master bedroom on the far side." I go, "Okay." And it sounded desperate. He needed me now. So I hauled ass. And when you're hauling ass, man, there's all shit everywhere, man. So you can't like just run down the hallway kind of thing. You know, you're trying to get to the far side. And I get to the far side of the compound, and I get to the room, and I'm not sure what's going on, so I'm pieing the door. I get up to the door, and I'm pieing the door coming around, and then there's Brent on the far side, and he's got the dresser open in the closet, and he's got two shirts. And he's got, like, I think it was a red Hawaiian shirt and a blue Hawaiian shirt. And he goes, "What do you think, this one or this one?" It was the bad guy's shirts.
And I'm out there shopping in his closet.
And I said, I like the blue one. And he goes, "I'm taking the red one."
I remember that one. Oh, the shenanigans. They're after target secure. The shenanigans on 1-5 were epic.
We had some fun
they were
times,
epic.
man.
It was always. And when it was go time, we were serious as can be.
Yeah.
But when it was time to have fun, no one had more fun than us at the same time.
Yeah.
No one took their job more serious than us. No one had more fun than us.
Work hard and play hard.
That's right.
Yep.
Sean, thank you so much for coming on. And now we got a live to get ready for.
Right on.
All right, let's do it. Thanks, guys.